Hey everybody, welcome back to Holt Growers. I'm your host Timothy Holt, and this is inside my greenhouse. Today we're going to be starting our first crop, planting seeds for our first crops. So we're going to be covering the giant green bell pepper. So I have my chart here. I make a chart of the greenhouse. This year I'm separating it into 8 basic sections. We'll have 4 sections on the north and 4 sections on the south. We have 4 rows, and I'm simply splitting those rows right down the middle right here. That way I can get a little more variety of crop in here and hopefully have pretty good success. So on my chart we're going to go with carrots over here, radishes, giant green bell peppers right there. Here is going to be broccoli. It'll be my first time growing broccoli, so definitely pay attention to that, see how we do. A friend of mine suggested growing broccoli, and a couple people said they would be interested in buying it, so figure what the hey, why not? It's a spring crop. I'll give it a go. If it goes well, great. If not, I'm not out that much. So, and then right here behind me will be our cherry tomatoes. They seem to go well every year. They're popular. They produce quite a bit. They're one of my go-to plants. So over here is going to be chili peppers. Chili peppers, unlike the green peppers, little brief difference here. The green peppers are an indeterminate variety of plant. Same with the cherry tomatoes, which means once they start producing, they're going to continue to produce for the remainder of the growing season. Determinate plants, however, will produce all of their crop all at one time, and then they're done. So the chili peppers are a determinate variety of chili pepper known as Big Jim's chili peppers, and they will produce everything all at once, about 75 to 80 days to maturity, and then they will be done. The nice thing about the chili peppers is they're a long, thin pepper. They're relatively easy to dry, so they have a good, strong, long shelf life. So, but they're going to be right back there. And then peas are going to be right here. I do like a sweet pea, so I'm using Little Marvels sweet peas right here. They're also an indeterminate variety. Again, once they start producing, as long as I stay on top of picking the crop, they will continue. And then right in front of me here will be our spring salad mix. We're going to go with a 4 lettuce variety, and they'll all get planted all together, intermixed. I mix the seeds up and then plant them. That way there's a good mix when I go to harvest, and I don't have to try measuring it out. So that's the plan for the greenhouse this spring. It is March 1st today, so there's my plan. And to get started, we're going to cover the giant green bell pepper. So if you look at a seed packet, there's a lot of information on the back of your seed packet. Pay attention to it. I've made the mistake of just kind of winging it in the past. It doesn't work very well. So planting depth, definitely want to pay attention to that. These are a 1/4 inch. If I plant them too deep, they won't have enough oomph to break through the top of the soil and get that wonderful sun. If I plant them too shallow, they won't have a good root base and they'll die easily. So that's important. And then spacing is important. I have 30-inch beds in here, so I'll be doing 1 row right down the middle of the bell peppers. That way they have plenty of room to grow and get full. Days to maturity is 10 for these bell peppers. 10 days. That's from day to plant until they'll start breaking through. Days to germination, I mean, and break through that seed and start growing a new plant. Alright. And then the other one that I like to pay attention to is days to maturity. That's very important for me. This is 76 to 80 days to maturity. I expect it to be closer to 90 because of how early in the season I'm planting them, but we'll see. I do put it into a calendar so I can keep track. I mark on my calendar what I planted and when I planted it. That way I can keep track of, hey, I planted those about 70 days ago. I should check on those, make sure they're good to go, and start harvesting if necessary. The other thing I do write on my seed packets when I get them is I write the earliest date of planting. So usually the packet will say so many weeks before date of expected last frost or late spring, things like that. And what I'll do is I'll take those weeks and I'll count backwards. So in this case, it is 8 to 10 weeks before last frost. Last frost here in western Pennsylvania this year is expected to be May 10th. So I'm counting back, and that would be March 1st, today. So we're going to plant these. So stay tuned. I'm going to cut the video here, and so I can move the camera around a little bit better and give you a better shot of how this happens. All right, so that's how they get planted. Spacing before thinning is 1 inch. After thinning, it says 18 to 30 inches. So what I did was I just kind of estimated the seeds and used the whole pack. We'll see how they come out. If they come out real thick, then I might transplant them outside into the southern beds. Or if they don't, then they don't. So we'll see how that goes. For those of you who are watching, this right here, you can check out last year's video where I cover it. This is a soaker hose, and it's what I use for irrigation here in the greenhouse. It works really well. I have it hooked up to our rain collection bin outside, so it's gravity fed, and what it does is it basically leaches the water out. The water comes in from the rain collection and then just goes through the hose, and there's little pores in the hose that allow the water to seep out. I will be turning that on after I get the beds planted so they can get good watering, and you can probably see where it's wet. The soil's a little more wet than over here, for example, and that's because the nice thing about the soaker hose is it gives that water straight to the root base, straight to those seeds, and I don't have to worry about oversaturating the I run very low risk, I should say, of supersaturating the soil or watering any weeds that might still be in here or things of that nature. I can concentrate and use less water by having it go straight to the seeds and the roots. So I'm just picking up some debris that I found, like little rocks, in this case little broken glass here, that we don't need in our greenhouse. So we'll see how this goes. I'm going to be planting some other crops today as well. I might do an overview next week on what went in where and how that goes. So I just wanted to show you guys how I take care of the peppers. We'll see how it goes this year. Last year didn't go very well. I ended up getting some peppers from a friend of mine that ended up growing really well for me, and same with the tomato plants. So hopefully we'll have better success this year growing from seed our peppers and tomatoes. I think with the plastic over, and then I also plan on putting a ground cover in here that will act as another barrier just until it starts warming up a little more consistently outside, maybe for a couple weeks. So stay tuned for that. As always, get out, grow some today, and may God richly bless you.